Selling on eBay is one of the easier ways to make $40,000 to $60,000 part-time and to easily clear $100,000 profit full-time per year. You just have to put in place the right systems and processes to get there, and you can start absolutely free. Let me show you guys how. The first thing you're going to want to do is head over to ebay.com and create a free account. If you are going to start out slowly, which is what I recommend, you can just go ahead and do a personal account. You're only going to be listing a couple of items per week, per day. Then once you start listing more and more and more, then you can easily transfer it to a business account. The process is super simple. They actually prompt you to do so along the way. If you already have a ton of inventory, then you can just go ahead and start with a business account and start building from there. There's really no need to go out and spend a ton of money on inventory right off the bat. We're over here on my wife's side of the closet. We can take her Hokas, these Nike Dunks, maybe these Nike Netcons. She hasn't worn a few of these in a while. We can go ahead and list the Hokas for 50, the Metcons for 50, and these Nike Dunks for 40 plus shipping, and we can get started on eBay without even spending a penny. You look up here in the closet, you can see here's a Lululemon bag. It's a bit dirty, but you can clean it up real quick. She hasn't used that in a while. I've got this San Francisco 49ers hat that you could put on eBay, maybe even this Utah Jazz hat. There may be some kitchen appliances you haven't used in a while. For example, this Ninja Creamy easily goes for about $200 on eBay. Everyone in America has a junk drawer. You can go ahead and open that up, see what you can find. Here's some AirPods that you could list. This old camera actually goes for decent money on eBay. Just kind of look around and see what you've got. One way that a lot of people get started is they just have a ton of video games from their kids or maybe themselves that they just have lying around. Video games typically have a decent sell-through rate, and you can get started with these selling on eBay from your own home. Now that you have a couple of items, you need to actually list them on eBay. The easiest way to do so is with your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android. The easiest way to get listings onto eBay is with your cell phone. Let me show you how to do that. You definitely want to eventually make what's called a photo station, where you have a neutral background and then some lighting. This actually isn't super important there. It's just a step you want to get to eventually. But there are tons of people that make tens of thousands of dollars a year listing their items outside on a patio table. Also, I travel to my in-laws' house quite often. When I'm there, I hit up some thrift stores, I get some items, and then I bring those items back and I literally just list them on a kitchen counter. It doesn't really matter too much the staging as long as you have quality items, but you eventually want to get to this point. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to list an item here on your cell phone. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your eBay app, then you're going to go to the search bar. Right here, we have this Sony VOR voice recorder. On this voice recorder, as you guys can see here, there's a model number. So this is the Sony M560V. So I'm going to type into the eBay search Sony M-560V. We're going to search that. We're going to see that 106 are listed. That's important, that we're going to get to later. Now we're going to filter over to sold. We're going to see that 173 are sold. That's important too. Now we're going to go here. I have already tested this, so I know that it works. We're going to go ahead and see what the current market is going for. So we see that one is sold for 60, another here for 55, 55, 75 with some cassettes, 45, 30. So what I'm going to do is, based on this information, I'm going to sell mine for $60. So this looks like a great listing. Sony micro cassette quarter recorder has the model number there. So I'm just going to click on this, and then I'm going to go to sell one like this. That's going to automatically populate the listing with the title and with the correct item specifics. So I'm going to mark it as used, and then I'm just going to make sure that this person didn't make any major mistakes in the item specifics. I don't like NAs, so I clear those. And nice. Looks like we're good to go here. We're going to go to photos, and now we're just going to take our photos of the item. You want to get one nice and close. Then you're going to flip it. And then with these electronics, I like to show that there's no battery corrosion. Then we're going to show them a few more details of it and make sure that they have enough photos to accurately assess the condition of the item. Then we're going to hit done. Then we're going to scroll down to the description. We're just going to make sure that they know this item has been tested and works. Free returns for any issues. Okay, then we're going to set the price. Sometimes it takes a second to populate. eBay is recommending $47, but they take a lot of data on other items. But we saw that we wanted to sell it for $60. And then I have preset shipping policies that I will talk about later on in this video. That is how you list your item. On your phone, you can hit list item, or you can save for later into your draft bank that I will talk about shortly as well. Once your item sells, you're going to have to ship it out, and you're going to need packing materials for that. What's really cool is you can buy them if you'd like to off of Uline or Amazon, or you can just do what I do and go behind grocery stores or Walmart and pick all these out of the dumpster. Most major businesses have a dumpster for trash and then a dumpster for cardboard. So these are usually always dry and in good condition. So I just get all these various boxes to sell all of these various items of different shapes and sizes in my eBay shop. For shipping, you're also going to need a few more materials. For example, bubble wrap. I usually just type into eBay bubble wrap and I buy the first thing that's at a competitive rate. I've bought from several different companies off of eBay and they all work fantastic. You could go to Walmart or Staples and just buy them as needed as well, or you could even go behind FedEx, USPS and grab some bubble wrap out of their dumpsters as well if you want to keep things ultra conservative. Then you're going to need some poly bags and possibly, depending on your items, some poly mailers. I get all of mine from Yarrow Pack. I actually have a link in the description that gets you 10% off of these materials. Highly recommend them. Really great company. They ship them out really fast, and these do more than the job needed, and they're very, very well priced. I ship all of my, for example, that voice recorder, I'm actually going to show you guys how I ship it. Just put it in a ton of bubble wrap and throw it in one of these. I do that with a lot of smaller electronics, especially remote controls. Perfectly safe, gets to the destination in a timely manner, and saves you a lot of money, which we'll get into here in a second. And then you're also going to need some tape. Wow, I just barely got a $115 golf club sale live on the video. That's cool. You're also going to need some tape. I just get my tape off of eBay. Once you have an eBay store, every quarter they give you a coupon to get some free supplies. So I get them from there because they're free. You're also going to need a scale. I have all of these items in an Amazon affiliate that I'll also put in the link below. And then as a beginner, when you are first selling items, so when I first started eBay, I started to sell 1 or 2 a day, and then 3 or 4, and then 5 or 6. While I was selling, wow, that was a Utah accent, while I was selling 1 to 6 items, I would just go into the eBay app, I would click on the sold item, and then I would hit ship item. That pulls up a screen where you put in the measurements. You can just use any measuring tape. Then you put it on the scale and you put in the weight. You put in those measurements and then you hit create label. That sends an email to your phone that has a QR code. You can go to the USPS and you can have them scan that barcode and then they print it out a label for you and then they slap it on your package. Once you're selling 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 per day, you're definitely going to want to upgrade your systems and invest in your business. And then you can get what's called a label printer. I recommend the Rollo, whether it's wired or wireless. Again, it'll be in that Amazon affiliate. These print off 4x6 labels. It makes your job a lot easier, and then you can just print them off and smack them on your packages, and then you can drop them off at UPS and USPS, or you can set up an account where they come to you every single day or every other day or once a week, however often you'd like to do your shipping, and they will pick up your items for you. All right, we've got that voice recorder here. I'm gonna show you guys how I ship it really quickly. You just get your thing of bubble wrap and then you just wrap her up. That's 1 square foot. You're gonna keep going and do 2 square feet. Then I'm gonna go 1 step further and I'm going to do 3 square feet. And I'm gonna rip it off. See how it pretty much disappears? You almost can't even see it in there. Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna take your poly mailer. You're gonna put it all the way down in the bottom there. And then you're just going to slowly roll it up to this opening. You're going to remove the sticky part, and then you're going to keep rolling it onto there. Then when you print out your label, rip it off, put it on there, and then you're good to go. Now, here's a tip. I have a lot of friends that work at UPS and USPS, and they tell me all the time, you need to make sure that your items are packed properly. You can put this in a box too if you'd like. It's a bit overkill. Little tangent distracted here, but any box that you're going to put a smaller item like that into, it's going to increase the weight, usually anywhere from 2 to 4 ounces, especially under a pound. Just adding 1 or 2 or 3 more ounces is going to increase the price of shipping anywhere from $40 to $100 to $1.80. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but you're also going to spend money on the box that's going to cost you probably 40 cents. So now you're looking at about $2.20 extra. If you send out 1,000 items, that's an extra 2,000. And after everything, you're looking at about $2,500 extra that you could have put in your bank account or could have reinvested back into your business. But all you gotta do is make sure that you just use a ton of bubble wrap, make sure that your items are secure, and then make sure that you feel comfortable chucking this around. Even a huge box, I send out receivers and I make sure that they are very, very well packed, because USPS and UPS employees will take it off the bench like this and then chuck it on the truck like that. And if you are not willing to do that, put extra wrap onto your items, because these USPS and UPS workers will handle them like that. For those of you wondering what that golf club cell was, it's this TaylorMade Aero burner. It's the 10.5. It's a driver. Nice right here. I got this at a yard sale for $25, and it just barely sold for $90 plus $10 in shipping. And after all the taxes and stuff, someone ended up paying $117 for this bad boy. So I'll just break that down for you guys quickly. So that sold for $90, and then they paid $12.95 in shipping, and after fees and taxes, it ends up being like $117 and something cents. I paid $25 for that. So eBay is going to charge 13.25% on the total transaction, which is $117. That ends up being $15.60. Keep numbers simple. It's going to bring us down to $100. Then I charged them shipping because it only sold for $90 plus shipping. And it's actually only going to cost me $9 to ship it out. So we made a little bit of money on the shipping as well. So that $9 is going to bring our profit down to $91. And then I bought it for $25. So subtract 91 and 25. That leaves us with about $64 profit on that one transaction. And a lot of times you can get golf clubs like that for $5. So you're making $85. Now for the most important part of the video, which is sourcing, or in other words, getting the actual items that you will be selling on eBay. There's a ton of different strategies on how to do so. Let me tell you guys my favorites and the best way to build an inventory. Now, there's a ton of different ways to actually source items to sell on eBay. Let me go over a few of them. My absolute favorite is thrift stores. You go to thrift stores and you find used items at a lower rate, and then you flip them on eBay for a profit. You can also find a ton of these good items at garage sales, estate sales, and flea markets. Another popular method is retail arbitrage, going to Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Costco, Dollar Tree, buying items that are severely discounted or just at a lower rate, and then flipping them back on eBay for a much higher rate. Another way of sourcing for eBay is online. You can actually buy things on eBay that are priced incorrectly or titled incorrectly, and then resell them on eBay. There's also different sites for liquidation, things like that. And I also have videos on all of these sourcing methods, also utilizing your local Facebook pages, storage units. There's a ton of different ways to source on eBay. You guys got to come up with your best strategies and what works best for your business. But I definitely recommend buying items piece by piece, one at a time, and especially as a beginner, staying away from liquidation and pallets. Let me tell you why. So I hate to do this, but if you guys are finding value, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. My whole YouTube channel is dedicated on how to sell items on eBay, Poshmark, whatnot, and various other platforms. And my whole channel is based on tips and tricks to help you sell your items faster and for more money, and how to get your items for cheaper. The number one absolute most important tip when it comes to selling on eBay has nothing to do with the algorithm, it has nothing to do with titles, it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's just this tip, which is in two parts. The first, buying the highest quality items possible and finding the fastest sell-through rate items as possible. Now, before I explain that, let me explain to you what sell-through rate is. As you guys continue on in your journeys here on eBay reselling, you're going to watch more and more YouTube videos, and you're going to learn that it's kind of a dramatic space sometimes, and that a lot of people have differing opinions on a lot of stuff that doesn't really matter, including what a sell-through rate is. I'm going to tell you my definition of the sell-through rate, and you can use my definition or anyone else's definition, I don't care. I just need you to learn this principle because it's going to be the difference of quitting and giving up early on eBay or making hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars on the platform. So on eBay, when you type into the search for any item, it's going to tell you how many are listed. From the earlier example of the Sony voice recorder, we saw that there was 106 or 107 listed. Then I went over to filter, which is right here on your phone. I scrolled down to sold listings, and it showed us that there were 173 sold. The data that it was showing us was from the last 90 days. So in the last 90 days, 173 of those Sony, what was it, the Sony M-V560, whatever the model number was, that particular model, there's only 106 listed and 173 have sold, which is an amazing sell-through rate. The simplest way to explain it is the 90-day sell-through rate. So if you find an item, let's say this black Sharpie, there are 100 listed on eBay, and then I filter to sold, and in the last 90 days, 100 have sold. That means this has a 100% sell-through rate. If there were 100 listed and only 50 have sold, that would be a 50% sell-through rate. If there were 100 listed and 200 sold, that would be a 200% sell-through rate. If I looked and I saw that there were 33 listed and 100 sold, that would be a 300% sell-through rate. Also, another thing to consider is if there are 90 sold, that means one is selling per day. If there are 1,000 sold in the last 90 days, that means there's about 10 or 11 selling every single day on average. So you want to look for items that have a fast sell-through rate and that have an actual high sold number. That's going to allow you to sell your items very, very, very quickly. So again, the sell-through rate is the amount of items listed divided by the number of the items sold. If you come across an item that has 439 listed, but only 21 sold, man, that means you're going to take, what number did I even say? 439 divided by 21, which ends up being a ton. And it's going to take forever and ever and ever to sell those items. So you want to shoot for, I think you should shoot for about an 80% sell-through rate. That means if there's 100 listed, 80 are sold. You obviously want to pick up the items that have a 500% sell-through rate, meaning there's, like 20 listed and 100 sold. You definitely want to pick those items up. And then it's okay to pick up an item here or there that has a pretty slow sell-through rate. In my opinion, you shouldn't buy anything that has less than a 50% sell-through rate because that's just going to really bog down and slow down your store. But if it has like a 60 or 70% sell-through rate, You're okay to pick those up here and there because you also have the 100, the 200, the 300% sell-through rate items launching your store forward and keeping that cash flow coming in every single day. This is why I recommend thrifting and garage selling as your main source of sourcing, because you're able to control that sell-through rate. You're able to pick up one item at a time, piece by piece, item by item. You're able to look things up and say, this is what I want in my business. I'm going to buy this. Oh, this doesn't meet my qualifications, so I'm going to leave this behind. On pallets and storage units and things of that nature, you can't do that. There's going to be a ton of items on that pallet that have extremely fast sell-through rates and sell for a ton of money, but there's also going to be a ton of junk on those pallets that have really slow sell-through rates, like extremely slow sell-through rates. Plus, on top of that, if you go into a thrift store, you can buy 10 items for under $5 each that have a really fast sell-through rate, and now you're only spending $40 to $50 to make 400 and to do it quickly. On a pallet, a lot of times you spend $700 to only create $1,200 in revenue. It's a lot of hours spent unloading the pallet, taking photos of all the items and all that stuff. And then if you get 1 or 2 returns, your margins are really small. So you end up spending $700 using 30 hours of resources to only make $200 when you could have done the exact same thing with only 10 items and even quicker at the thrift store. So you definitely want, especially as a beginner, and you can move on to pallets and things like that also. And there are people that as beginners do really well with storage units and pallets. If that's you, this advice doesn't apply to you, and that's fine. But for the average beginner, I definitely recommend buying things piece by piece, one at a time, so you can control how much money you're spending and how quickly your items are moving. Now, in the beginning, I definitely recommend going to your thrift stores and garage sales and picking up the 1, 2, depending on how great your thrift stores and garage sales are, 20 items per day that have the absolute fastest sell-through, and then leaving everything else behind. I definitely recommend buying everything so you can learn kind of what's available in your area, what you like to sell, what you hate to sell, and then start to slowly kind of niche down if you would like to. I clearly never did. I like to sell a little bit of everything, and I like only having to go to 1, 2, maybe 3 thrift stores a day, because if I just did clothing, I would probably have to go to 10 thrift stores per day to get enough items for my business. If I just did baseball bats, it probably just wouldn't work, okay? So you can start to niche down and only do clothing if you'd like, or only do basketball and baseball cards if you'd like, or only do small electronics like remote controls and cameras. You can do whatever you want. This is your business. I bring this up because a lot of people see my setup and say, I don't have that much space, so I can't do this. And to those people, I always say, you can fit 100 clothes in your closet and just have a 100 item clothing store with really fast sell-through rate and really high profit margins. This is about 3,000 cards. You could fit 9 of those underneath a king size bed. You can fit 6 of them underneath a twin size bed. That means with this completely filled up, it's 5,000 cards. 5 times 7, 8 boxes, you can have 40,000 basketball cards underneath your bed. If we go over here to my video games, you can fit, I don't know, 300 video games underneath your bed. You can fit all of those basketball cards into one junk drawer in your house. You just got to find what works for you, what works for your business, find those items and sell them. All right, let's talk about some tips and best practices here. I definitely recommend having what's called a draft bank. The draft bank, when I was listing the Sony voice recorder, I mentioned that it said list now, and then it also said save for later. What I would recommend doing is going around your house like we talked about in the beginning, getting your 1 to 10 items, and listing all of those items immediately. Get them in your store, get things churning, maybe get a sale or 2 immediately if you have some really good items. And then I would also recommend on top of that going to your thrift stores and seeing how many items you can find. And on the first day, if you go and you only find 2 items, I would come home and I would draft those 2 items. Or if you found 5 items, I would come home and I would draft all 5 of those items. Then I'd go out the next day And if you only find 2, you draft your 2. Or if you find 10, draft all 10. Then go out a third day. If you only find 2, 5, 10, whatever it is, draft all those items. Now you can see 3 or 4 days of how many items you're getting and then kind of do an average. Be like, okay, sweet, it looks like I'm able to get about 5 items every single day. So then what I would start to do is I would draft 5 every single day. If I was able to find 5 items a day, I would draft 5 every day and then launch 3. Every day that I would go out sourcing, which would be Monday through Friday, and then Saturday if you can, draft these 5 items, and then every morning when you wake up, I would launch 3 of them. So that way you can start to build your draft bank and always have enough items that you can launch 3 every single day. Then once you get to a point where you're selling 2 or 3 every single day, and you have 10 or 12 days worth of draft bank, in this example it would be 30, 40 items, then I would start launching 5 a day and drafting 7 or 8. And then just keep building your draft bank and building your draft bank. What I do every single day is I draft 30 items Monday through Friday, which ends up being 150 items. And then I wake up every day, Monday through Sunday, and I launch 20 of them. So I end up drafting 150 per week and then launching 140 per week. What this does, it allows me to be ultra consistent. It does not matter what day of the year it is, I list. I list on Christmas. I launch my listings on Christmas, on my anniversary. If I break my leg, if I develop an illness that I have to go to the hospital for an extended period of time, I can still be launching my listings because I've done all that work previously. What this does is it allows you to be ultra consistent as a business owner, and it also has some benefits in the eBay algorithm. It's showing eBay you're not just some guy or gal, you actually mean business and you're playing ball. If you're just doing this as a side hustle, just find ultra fast sell-through rate items and then just list those as you find them. If you want to make this a pretty decent side hustle and even a full-time income, you definitely want to list consistently every single day. The way you do that is by setting up this draft bank. Drafting every single day and then listing those items every single morning. The most important thing in your eBay business is actually making sales and making profit, right? So we talked about how the most important thing to do that is make sure you are picking up great quality items that have a fast sell-through rate. On top of that, this is how you got to play eBay's game and do what they want from you. So eBay wants to do a couple of things. The first thing is they want to create the best buyer experience possible. Any smart business person knows the best way to make money is to keep a customer happy, and those happy customers will continue to come back and purchase from you. One of the biggest business expenses out there is customer acquisition costs. It costs money, usually through marketing, to bring a customer to your store or to your service for the first time. Then if you can create a quality customer experience, that person is going to keep coming back over and over and over again. So eBay wants us to provide an amazing customer experience every single time. The way that you provide a great customer experience, I talk about this on all of my videos. This is what my channel is dedicated to. Some of the best ways to provide a great customer experience is to have titles that are amazing, the way that eBay would like you to, and the way that your customer types these titles out. You want to have a ton of quality photos, so that way they can actually see your item and determine the condition and quality of the item. Then you're going to want to use a description to highlight the condition of this item to make sure that your customer fully understands what they're getting. And don't be afraid to post items on eBay that are broken or that have stains or major flaws. Just put those in the photos and the description, because a lot of people will buy these items to fix them up and use them themselves, or even to fix them up and resell them back onto eBay or Amazon or other platforms. So you definitely want to make sure that you are accurately describing your items. Now for the part of the business that sucks, that everyone hates, that is very emotional, and there's just no way around it, but that is returns. Returns happen on eBay and on all these major platforms. And that's okay. It's part of business. You want to do what you can to limit returns and get as few returns as possible, but this is part of the game. I always say don't let $40 to $70 worth of returns stop you from making tens of thousands of dollars a month. Now, there are some extreme cases, it always sucks, but most people that buy items actually want to not return them, they just want to keep them and use them. I sell a ton of different electronics, clothing, a ton of different things, so I have a 4.5% return rate. If you deal only in electronics, that's actually pretty low. If I did only men's clothing, that would be pretty high. 4.5% returns isn't bad. It honestly makes me a ton of money. I have like $200 to $250 worth of returns every week, but I make hundreds of thousands of dollars on eBay every single year. So don't let a little bit of returns stop you from making hundreds of thousands of dollars and eventually millions of dollars. For example, like if there was two Sharpies, same condition, both new, same shipping time, and one was free returns and the other was no returns, the average person is just going to buy the one with free returns. Not because they want to return it, but they just want the insurance that if something does go wrong, they can return it, and you just seem like a more credible seller. You also want to ship out items as soon as possible. People especially are accustomed to Amazon with same-day shipping or next-day shipping. You want to ship your stuff as soon as possible because it just creates a positive buyer's experience, and it gets you more and more sales and better placement. So I definitely recommend having free returns. Not only is it going to get you more sales, it's also going to protect you. It unlocks what's called seller protections. So if someone buys a shirt from me and then they use it, they love it, they get a huge ketchup stain on it, and they're like, oh crap, I'm going to return this. That's a fraudulent return. That sucks. They damaged the item. What you're able to do in this situation, if you have free returns, is you're able to withhold the original shipping plus only refund them 50% of the purchase price. If you did no returns, this is a harsh reality, people can lie and say the item wasn't described. Now you have to refund them shipping both ways and 100% of the purchase price, and you lose your seller protections because you don't have free returns. If you do have free returns, you only have to refund them 50 and no shipping. If you have no returns and they lie and say it wasn't described, which happens all the time, you have to refund them all of the shipping and all of the purchase price. Plus, on top of that, if you have free returns and you have next day or same day shipping, you're going to qualify for Top Rated Seller Plus, which gives you 10% off of your eBay fees. It's just a good idea to have those free returns because of the advantages of the seller protections, the discounted fees, and the positive buyer experience for your customers. Another thing you're going to want to look out for are scammers. Everyone's favorite topic here on YouTube. Scamming is prevalent. It does happen on the eBay platform, but there's a lot of workarounds. The first thing is scammers definitely seek out people who are newbies, and the way to know that you're a newbie is having zero or close to zero feedback. You just barely started on eBay, so you don't have any feedback. I personally have never had those scams where people reach out and say, hey, send me an email or call me on this number. If anyone reaches out to you and says, call me on this number or send me an email, it's a scam. Just ignore them, 100%, no matter what. If you give someone your number on eBay and eBay sees that message and they're constantly monitoring messages, you can have your account deleted because that's a way that you can avoid paying fees and eBay will take you out. So, and it's also the most common scam. So if someone sends you if someone says send me your email or your phone number, just don't do it, block them. The workaround, the reason why I've never received those messages is because a few years ago, before I even started selling on eBay, I was buying a ton of basketball cards. I'm a basketball card collector. At one point, I had 30,000 basketball cards. It was kind of nuts. And a few years ago, I was buying aggressively a ton of basketball cards. Like a ton, like way more than I should have. But that's a different discussion for a different time. So what happened was I was buying a ton of basketball cards, 1 at a time, 4 at a time, 2 at a time, off of eBay. And sellers can leave positive feedback for buyers. And it's a good way for you to get feedback back from the buyers. If I see that someone left, if I see that a seller left me feedback, statistically it's more likely that I'm going to go ahead and leave them feedback in return. So I bought hundreds and thousands of basketball cards, and I ended up having like 380 positive feedback before I even listed my first item on eBay. So what I recommend is just buying a ton of stuff on eBay. Now, don't go crazy. Don't buy things you don't need, but just start buying all of your shampoo, all of your deodorant, all of your hand towels, anything that you need that you buy on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Just start buying them off of eBay. And all of these sellers are going to leave you positive feedback, so that way you're going to get scammed a lot less. Also, you can type into Google automatic feedback eBay, and it's going to bring up a page where you can set in your business policies how to automatically leave feedback for people when they purchase things. So when someone purchases your item, you leave them feedback. Then once they get it and everything goes well, they're much more likely to leave you feedback because you left them feedback. So if you want to avoid scams, especially in the beginning, just try to build up your positive feedback as fast as possible, and all of these scammers are going to leave you alone. You're not going to get any of these, hey, send me your email. Taxes. You're definitely going to need to pay taxes on all of the money you make off of eBay, especially once you start making a ton of money. And that's okay. The more money you make, the more taxes you're going to pay, but if you're paying a lot of taxes, it means you're making a lot of money, right? I'm not a CPA, so this is not like financial advice, but I would definitely recommend getting a CPA. But just getting a CPA, you're still going to have to do a lot of work of actually telling them what you bought, what you sold, all of your expenses. So I definitely recommend a software called My Reseller Genie, which I have a link in the description below. This isn't just a shameless plug to make me a ton of money. This is actually a really awesome service that you guys can use. It's only between $10 and $20 a month, depending on the package you get. What this does is you just type in your eBay account and it automatically syncs it. And then it puts all of your items in a spreadsheet, all of your sales in a spreadsheet, all of your returns in a spreadsheet, and it keeps track of all of these things for you. So that way when you go to your CPA, you just hand them, you don't hand it to them, but you send those documents in an email, and they're able to calculate exactly how much money you've made, how much money they need to deduct because of returns and things like that. Then I would also get a business credit card. I recommend the Chase Preferred Inc. I think it's the Preferred Inc. because it does ×3 points on shipping. I have a video on that as well. I'm able to go on 2 major vacations every year for free because of that, but that's for a different video. But get a business credit card as well, so that way and then every time you spend money for your business, buying your items, signing up for a software, shipping out packages, buying shelves for a garage, renting a storage unit, buying these lights for your listings, things like that. Every single time you buy something for your business, just use that business credit card, and then you can send your statements and your My Reseller Genie to your CPA. Oh my gosh, taxes are so simple every year because of these tools. So again, I definitely recommend getting the My Reseller Genie. Just the basic is good enough, and then also if you want the extra things in the Premier or whatever, I definitely recommend that too if you can squeeze it. And then also get a business credit card so you can keep track of all of your expenses. And then definitely get a CPA, have them do all of this for you, and it's just going to save you a lot of heartache and protect you and maximize your profits. In the beginning, I definitely recommend staying strictly on eBay, learning about the platform, learning about the fees, learning about the shipping, learning about, just all the things that you should learn about on eBay. Consistently watch YouTube videos like my channel. Other channels are really great, like Osborne to Thrift, Daily Refinement, The Commonwealth Picker. A lot of educational channels just in resells. There's a lot of really good channels out there, Ching King, that tell you guys that teach you guys how to maximize sales and profits on eBay. Then once you've sold a couple hundred items, maybe even 1,000 items, you can even start branching out into Poshmark, Whatnot, Facebook Marketplace. I even would use Facebook Marketplace from the beginning. If you guys come across like KitchenAid mixers or vacuums that are very profitable that you don't want to ship out, you can also just flip those locally and avoid fees as well. But all the small items definitely want to put on eBay. Get that audience of 180 million people instead of your local town of 20,000. But yeah, you can definitely start expanding to these other platforms. I would recommend learning as much as you can about eBay first. I sold exclusively on eBay for the first 21 months, and I just recently started cross-listing to Poshmark. I have videos on that as well on the channel. But again, you want to continuously keep learning on eBay. Keep coming back to this channel, keep coming back to other channels, and just keep refining your skills, your knowledge, and keep improving and selling more and more and more on eBay, and you guys can really make a ton of money, just a ton of money. It's hard, okay? It's not easy, it's simple. There's a difference between simple and easy. Simple is you just follow some of the things I set out in this video and the money will come. Doesn't mean it's easy to do those things. You still got to get up in the morning. You still got to sit down for hours at a desk and list things. You still got to learn about items that are more profitable than others, learn about items that sell faster than slower, and things like that. The processes are simple. It's not easy to do, but if you actually are serious about this, you can make so much money so quickly too. So just keep learning every single day, guys. Again, I just wanted to remind you guys the most important thing you can do in this eBay reselling side hustle or full-time business is focusing on items that have a fast sell-through rate. You want to have kind of a goal of selling 1% of your inventory every single day. So if you have 100 items listed, you're selling 1 per day. If you have 1,000 items listed, you're selling 10 per day. If you have 4,000 items, you're selling 40 items per day. You want to make sure that you are constantly selling these items at a fast rate so you have cash flow and you don't have a stagnant store of items that people don't want. A lot of people begin this journey, they see on YouTube that a lot of guys sell like hats, for example. So they immediately start buying a ton of hats, but they don't check the sell-through rate. And now they have 400 hats in their store with an average sell-through rate of 20%, and they're not even selling 1 hat per day. A lot of people do the same thing with postcards, even with basketball cards. So I know people that have 3,000 items in their store that only sell half an item a day. Sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 1. Every once in a while it's 2. Sometimes they'll go 3 days with 0. You definitely don't want to be in that position, and that is strictly because they aren't buying items with fast sell-through rate. They buy items that sell eventually, I guess. But if you want to stick with eBay and make a ton of money, you need to focus on items that have a fast sell-through rate. There's a ton of people that have, like I said, 4,000 items listed, and in 90 days, they only sell like 75 to 100 items. That's not in a very good place to be. Then I know people that have 40, 50, 100 items active, like 40 or 50 active items, but have 150 sold in the last 90 days. That means they're only picking up blazing fast sell-through rate items, which is awesome. But again, I think what you should shoot for is selling 1% of your inventory. If you have 300 items, you should be selling 3 per day. You can even, if you're focusing on sell-through rate, you can have a 500 item shop where you're selling 8, 9, or 10 a day. That's also an amazing place to be. So really focus on, I guess we'll talk about the pillars of eBay success. Finding fast sell-through rate items is the first pillar. The second pillar, consistently learning about eBay and reselling and Poshmark and all these platforms consistently. Weekly, I would say daily if possible. Keep hopping on YouTube and sharpening that axe every single day. Third would be also consistency in listing. So we'll just say consistency is the second pillar. Consistency and consistently learning, consistently listing, consistently shipping out your items. And then the third pillar I would put as account health. Make sure that you are resolving customer concerns, that you are refunding people when they send their items back to you, that you are answering questions, and that you're not getting defects on your account. Account health, consistency, pick up fast sell-through rate items. You're going to have an amazing and a beautiful life here on eBay. If you only pick up slow sell-through rate items, you have bad account health, and you rarely come on YouTube or Google or eBay to learn, you're going to have a terrible and not a beautiful life on eBay. Also, if you guys are here on this channel and you've made it to this point in the video, you guys are very serious about learning, and I just want you guys to know you should be proud of yourselves. This could be a moment where your life changes or where your life enhances for the better. You guys got this. Nothing can hold you back but yourself. I know a lot of people here, I'm getting a bit preachy and a bit ranty, but bear with me. I know a lot of people here don't have a supportive spouse, and that's hard, but you just got to work really hard and show them what this can do. A lot of people don't have supportive family members. You just got to work hard and show them what you can do. A lot of people have areas where the thrift stores absolutely suck. You got to go to yard sales and you got to learn how to thrift online. A lot of people have just all these challenges, whether they're physical, whether they're emotional. A lot of people here are depressed and have anxiety, but you just got to keep pushing through. You can make more money than you ever have, spend more time with your family than you ever have, and have the biggest bank account than you ever have. Those are the 3 pillars of my YouTube channel, if you were wondering. I want to help people have more money than they ever have and spend more time with their family than they ever have. Those are the 2 pillars of this YouTube channel. I really hope that I am able to provide extreme value for you guys every single time you hop onto a video. Thank you so much for coming out and watching this. I really hope it was valuable for you guys.